morning. I'm Haylee Ficuciello with Englebrook Independent News. Tonight, we bring you a special federal crime report highlighting major prosecutions, sentencings, and indictments from the United States District Court from the District of Columbia during the middle of June of 2026. The cases spanned narcotic trafficking, violent crimes, firearm offenses, fraud schemes, child exploitation crimes, and matters touching national security. Let's begin. A Maryland man has been sentenced to more than 3 years in federal prison for his role in a long-running fentanyl trafficking conspiracy operating throughout the Washington metropolitan area. 29-year-old Dijon West of Prince George County received a sentencing of 42 months in federal prison after pleading guilty to conspiracy to distribute fentanyl. Federal investigators say West spent years distributing counterfeit oxycodone pills that were actually laced with fentanyl. According to prosecutors, West obtained large quantities of counterfeit pills from California suppliers, either by traveling to the West Coast or arranging shipments directly to Maryland. In one seizure alone, authorities intercepted approximately 5,500 counterfeit pills destined for West residents. Between 2022 and 2025, West conducted numerous drug transactions with law enforcement sources, selling quantities ranging from hundreds to more than 1,000 pills at a time. Laboratory testing revealed the pills contained fentanyl and, in some cases, other dangerous substances including methamphetamine and xylazine. Judge Rudolph Contreras sentenced West to 42 months in prison, followed by 4 years of supervised release. In a case with international implications, Avondil Gonzalez, a resident of the Republic of Georgia and former master of tanker vessel Bella I, pled guilty to refusing lawful order from the United States Coast Guard. Federal authorities say the vessel was part of what is commonly referred to as shadow fleet, used to transport sanctioned Iranian and Venezuelan oil. According to court documents, the tanker transported approximately 1.8 billion barrels of Iranian origin oil while utilizing tactics designed to conceal its activities, including disabling tracking systems and making vessels identification during transfer at sea. In late 2025, the Coast Guard intercepted the vessel in the Atlantic Ocean. Instead of complying with federal authorities, prosecutors say the vessel fled, triggering a multi-week pursuit stretching from the Caribbean into the North Atlantic. Investigators allege Colanze ignored repeat commands from the Coast Guard personnel and participated in efforts to destroy records on board. Sentencing is scheduled for August. Following any prison term, Gonzalez is expected to be deported. A former Washington, D.C. psychotherapist who specialized in working with children and adolescents has been sentenced to 10 years in federal prison after being convicted on child exploitation charges. 61-year-old Victor Redondo Bailiff was found guilty of distributing and possessing child sexual abuse material. Federal investigators recovered approximately 300 videos and more than 23,000 images. According to court findings, Bailiff maintained collections of illegal material for decades and engaged in communication encouraging exploitation of children. The court also heard evidence that Bailiff attempted to exploit minors and use online communications to facilitate inappropriate contact. Judge Dabney Findrich sentenced Bailiff to 10 years in prison and ordered lifetime supervised release, mandatory sex offender registration, and restitution totaling $71,000. The sentencing brings to a close one of the most disturbing child exploitation cases prosecuted in the district this year. Federal prosecutors have filed additional charges against Romelio Lakewal, the Afghan national accused of carrying out the November ambush shooting near the White House that left one National Guard member dead and others wounded. A superseding indictment now includes 17 counts. Specialist Sarah Beckerstorm was killed in the attack, with the Sergeant Andrew Wolf suffering serious injuries. 2 additional guardsmen were also wounded. According to prosecutors, Lackamole allegedly drove across the country from Washington state while armed with stolen firearms. Investigators say he opened fire without provocation near the Fragrant West Metro Station on November 26. Authorities recovered a stolen .357 caliber revolver at the scene. The new indictment contains allegations that could make portion of the case eligible for federal death penalty review. The Department of Justice Capital Case Committee is expected to evaluate whether the prosecution will formally pursue a death sentence. Lackham will remain in federal custody awaiting trial. A district man has been sentenced to 5 years in federal prison for an armed carjacking in Northwest Washington. 26-year-old Avery Ricardo Robinson III pled guilty after prosecutions demonstrated that he approached a victim on Park Road Northwest while armed with a handgun. Authorities say Robinson forced the victim to surrender personal property, vehicle keys, jewelry before stealing the victim's Nissan Altima. Police later recovered the vehicle and arrested Robinson while he was carrying a loaded handgun. Court records indicate Robinson was already facing legal troubles involving stolen vehicles at the same time of the arrest. Judge Lauren Alkane sentenced Robinson to 60 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Federal prosecutors unveiled one of the largest narcotic indictments of the month, charging 14 individuals in a crack cocaine and cocaine trafficking conspiracy allegedly operating near Haylee Elementary School in southeast Washington. The 21-count indictment includes the organization distribution large quantities of narcotics within 1,000 feet of a school. Federal agents, DEA investigators, and Metropolitan Police officers executed search warrants at 15 locations throughout the district and Maryland. Authorities arrested all 14 defendants. Investigators seized 28 firearms, approximately 2.4 kilograms of cocaine, 1 kilogram of powder cocaine, fentanyl, and marijuana. Prosecutors allege the organization openly conducted drug trafficking activities in the areas routinely used by children traveling to and from school. The case remains pending, and all defendants are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in the court of law. A previously convicted felon who discarded a ghost gun while fleeing the police was sentenced to 22 months in federal prison. 23-year-old Willie Speaks was observed by officers during a late-night patrol in northwest Washington. When officers attempted to contact, Speaks fled. Surveillance footage later showed him throwing a loaded firearm into a residential yard. The weapon was identified as a .45 caliber polymer 80 ghost gun lacking a serial number. At the time of the incident, Speaks was already serving probation in 2 separate cases. Judge John Bates sentenced Speaks to 22 months in prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. A former contract employee of the Government Publishing Office was pled guilty in a fraud scheme involving fake federal employment officers. 38-year-old Tasha Lee admitted to creating fraudulent jobs offer letters using government letterheads and official email accounts. Prosecutors say the false letters were provided to individuals seeking to qualify for apartment rentals throughout the district. The fraudulent documents claimed recipient was secured federal jobs paying salaries ranging from approximately $85,000 to more than $200,000 annually. Investigators allege Lee was also verified the employment claims when landlords attempted to confirm them. Sentencing is scheduled for October. Federal prosecutors also secure a sentence against a previously convicted felon found with a loaded firearm near the United States Capitol. 31-year-old Timothy Clark was stopped by the U.S. Capitol Police after officers observed an expired registration tag. During the search of the vehicle, officers discovered a loaded .22 caliber handgun inside a backpack. Clark had prior felony convictions involving narcotic distribution and firearm offenses. Judge Braille Howell sentenced Clark to 14 months in federal prison and 3 years of supervised release. From fentanyl trafficking and violent crimes to child exploitation, firearm offenses, international sanction enforcements, and large-scale narcotic conspiracies, federal prosecutors in Washington have remained active throughout June. The cases highlighted tonight demonstrate a broader range of criminal matters moving through the United States District Court of the District of Columbia and underscore that continued efforts of federal, state, and local law enforcement agents working together to investigate and prosecute serious offenses. For continued coverage of federal courts, public safety, and criminal justice developments across the nation, stay with Englebrook Independent News. I'm Haylee Ficuciello. Thank you for watching and good night.